Pleasant good afternoon to all my fans, friends, well-wishers, strangers, one and all. Those who are listening and viewing for the first time, it is always my pleasure to share a good word with you. And as usual, welcome to our weekly presentation. Welcome to your favorite knowledge channel. Welcome to playing a part after hearing the word and feeling free to make an appropriate comment. So it is indeed my pleasure, and it's even my greater pleasure to hear what you have to say through the comment section after the presentation. The usual format for our presentations, we will share a motivational word. Today I'll actually share two. We will tell you and inform you of the services that we offer, and then I will go into the presentation and remind you again of the services. So, as usual, start off with a motivational word, and the first one is that there must be no recess with self-development. I repeat, there must be no recess with self-development, because when you purposefully apply yourself to become a better you, you will benefit, your family will benefit, the community will benefit, and the world must benefit. As you very well know, you cannot predict how much time you have on earth, so I think it is only wise that you live in a purposeful manner and make use of every second. And in so doing, certainly you'll be striving for every means to develop yourself so that you can become the best you. So remember this, there must be no recess with self-development. So ponder on it, consider it, and allow it to motivate you to drive yourself forward to fulfill your God-given potential. The other motivational thought I will share with you is that you must dance to the music coming from your own musical instrument. Dance to the music coming from your own musical instrument. No one else will understand the music that is being produced by you. So you are in the best position to dance to that music. But ensure it's a dance that will elevate you and will elevate others, even though they may not understand the music as produced by yourself. In other words, it is said in a different way, you must go to the beat of your own drum. It doesn't mean that you are selfish, but what it suggests is that you are fully aware of who you are, and because of the music that is being produced, you are moving forward to that beat in terms of making your best possible contribution in life. So if others do not understand the music, you for sure understand it. And I encourage you to dance there, but ensure it's a positive dance so that society can benefit, so that yourself can benefit. Alright, so consider those motivational words and let them serve as a means of encouraging you to really move forward in a positive manner. So, our services, as usual, span a range of areas that we offer workshops in. We cover areas such as leadership, public speaking, marketing, management, communication skills, teamwork, community development, cooperative development, the role of psychology in business, emotional intelligence, anger management, entrepreneurship, among a host of other topics. You can do it in workshop form, and we will also do it in a one-on-one session. We also provide life coaching services, so that if you want a coach to work with you in terms of allowing you to better understand who you are and to have a better plan in place so that you can become the best version of yourself, certainly will be happy, willing, and able to offer those services to you. As usual, you can contact us at 1-868-778-5141, 1-868-779-2544, or you can email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So call us, email us, book your appointment now, and let us work together as partners in ensuring that you really are the best version of yourself and that the world can remember you for your contribution. So we look forward to your call, we look forward to your email. So we're now moving into today's presentation, and for the last 4 weeks we have been discussing mental health, we have been discussing identity, and we have been discussing self-awareness. And today will be no different, and all of those areas are connected, and the topic for today is the real self, the ideal self, and the imposter. I repeat, today's topic, the real self, the ideal self, and the imposter. Which one of those are you? Is it one or the other? Or do you fall into all of the categories? So certainly at different points in times in our lives, we all will fall into all categories. Some of you may be saying, but I do not fall into the imposter side. But just think about it for a moment. You know, one theorist in psychology, spoke about the concept of the shadow. And the shadow is what we call the dark side. And every one of us as human beings, we all have a dark side. We have weaknesses and we have characteristics, we have flaws that we will not, openly, at least if we are conscious enough, openly, publicize those weak areas. There may be some bad experience, some bad situation, what have you. We will not openly publicize those weak areas about ourselves. So if we are doing that, we are not trying to fool someone else actually. But the key challenge and the key question here, even though you are not advertising to the world, the one person you must be true to is yourself. Meaning, if there is some area of weakness, you must of course acknowledge it, clearly identify it, define it, and put in place a plan to eliminate, to alleviate, or to improve from that area of weakness. Because if there is something that can be holding you back or might affect the relationship that you have with others, it is only wise that you face it square on, you seek help where appropriate, but it will be a step in the right direction to face whatever adversity, whatever challenges, whatever weaknesses that you have to deal with, rather than not just making it public. That may be all good and well in that you don't want to create a particular impression of yourself. So face the truth and do something about it, because at the end of the day, it will be slowly eating away at you and weakening your capacity to contribute to the best of your ability. In other cases, when we look at people who may be, you may consider imposters, sometimes it may appear to be deliberate. In a lot of other cases, it may not necessarily be deliberate. There are many persons who are carrying a lot of internal pain arising from traumatic experiences, domestic abuse, rape, emotional abuse of different forms and types, maltreatment of whatever type you could think about, and they feel less than themselves, all right? They have not gotten the kind of treatment to overcome the trauma that they experience, and it continues to affect their relationship in their everyday lives and in the interaction with others. So many persons may, what we call, involved in masking. They may have an external persona or mask, which is really a cover sometimes for the internal pain that they feel. According to Sigmund Freud and his daughter Anna Freud, when they spoke about defense mechanisms, traumatic experiences are sometimes unconsciously pushed into the background because the pain is so much that people really don't want to face up to that. So, as I said last week, if trauma is not addressed, it will continue to affect you. So, sometimes the mask that people put on, sometimes is a cover for internal pain. So if they are viewed as an imposter in that context, understand it is not a deliberate posture. On the other hand, some people might be deliberate in terms of posturing, in terms of being overly competitive. And sometimes again, if we carefully examine it, a person who is being overly competitive, according to Alfred Adler, another psychologist, when he spoke about people sometimes having inferiority complexes, and they compensate by having a superiority complex. So sometimes people, in order to make themselves feel better, given that inferiority complex position, they adopt an attitude of superiority. Of course, such posturing is not healthy. But at the end of the day, I'm using the term imposter, but I'm trying to delineate and very carefully explain so you can understand the context. All right? So that position may arise from a lack of sense of self, a lack of sense of identity, who they are, a lack of awareness, weak emotional intelligence. Persons may easily succumb to pressure, because if you are easily succumbing to pressure, you may not have a clearly defined sense of purpose, a clearly defined sense of who you are in terms of identity. You may not view yourself well in terms of your self-esteem. You may not think about yourself in a positive way in terms of your self-concept. And as I said last week, in terms of your self-efficacy, your confidence will be very low in terms of your ability to perform in certain domains. So being in such a situation, an individual can easily succumb to pressure. An imposter may also be one who we may say is acting very phony, all right? And expressing beliefs, I mean, this is a very dangerous one. There are people who express beliefs that they do not believe in. I mean, I'm not condemning anyone's religion, but there are people in all walks of life, including people in religion, who will be expressing a certain theology, who will be expressing certain virtues. And the truth is, when you look at practice, when you look at interaction, when you look to feel a sense of God, when you deal with them, you recognize it's something totally different. Now, our role is not to judge, but when something doesn't add up, here's the reason you may get the feeling that this is a kind of a phony position. All right? When sometimes the person speaks, is there congruence in terms of the words that are being used and body language? I mean, that is a very, very clear indicator, as I mentioned last week, sometimes where people probably are not really being honest and truthful. So when we using a term, the term imposter might be kind of strong, and here's the reason I spend a little time to clearly put it in context and in different contexts, so you can understand sometimes that those positions that people take, sometimes it's not deliberate, but sometimes it's an inability to overcome hurts and pain, and they put on a mask. Where it is deliberate, when it becomes a dangerous situation. But all in all, if you dig deeper, it might be a call for help. As I mentioned with the inferiority versus the superiority, and superiority compensated for inferiority feelings, it really may be a call for help. So we need to sometimes probably be less judgmental for persons like those, recognize what is happening. If we can help them, certainly. If we can push them in the direction of being helped, great. And of course, we will hope that they will be open enough in terms of receiving help. So having looked at what I consider, being an imposter, let us look at the real you, right? In a previous broadcast, I spoke about authenticity. And you all know authenticity is another word for being real. And to be real calls for a lot of strength from a human being. Because sometimes to be real, you have to go against the grain. You have to go against what everyone else is saying, because you are being real in terms of what you believe in. So a real person will be comfortable in respectfully expressing your opinions, will be comfortable in expressing their feelings, will be comfortable in being vulnerable in terms of showing weaknesses, in terms of showing strengths, in that they are being true to themselves, and people can really experience them as they are. Alright? An authentic person will want to live and become the best they can possibly be. So they will act productively, they will act purposefully, they will have clear goals, they will have objectives, and they will have outcomes that they are working towards. Alright? So there will also be congruence in terms of their body language and their speech. In other words, they will be considered by others to be trustworthy, in that if they give their word, they will honor their word. They will be considered by others to be trusted, in that they are reliable, they are honest, they are earnest, and that you can depend on them to really give you what we call an honest opinion, right? Sometimes in an organization setting, an organization will always benefit more from an authentic person who probably is going against the grain, who is expressing an honest opinion, right? Notwithstanding the general view that may exist, they will honestly tell you what they think, and those kind of viewpoints certainly can help an organization to grow because of those kind of individuals. People who just may be going along, are they being imposters? Perhaps. Are they looking for favors? Perhaps. But those kind of persons certainly do not help their own growth or the growth of an organization. So being your real self calls for a lot of hard work. It calls for a lot of introspection and reflection. It calls for a willingness to learn. It calls for open-mindedness, in terms of considering what everyone else has to say, in terms of learning through the experience of others. It will call for a person who focus on self-development in terms of reading, in terms of physical fitness, etc. So being authentic is a plus in life, but it requires you to do a careful evaluation of yourself, identifying everything about yourself, the good, bad, and the indifferent, and being true to yourself and addressing them in a way to grow. Alright? So the authentic person will certainly be growth-oriented, has a growth mindset, and will have that, all-embracing attitude to become the jewel that the master has destined them to be. So I implore you to value yourself in that way, in terms of doing what is required and acknowledging who you are and making that unique contribution to life. Remember, you are, as I said in the previous broadcast, you are an original and not a carbon copy. And if you are a carbon copy, it means to say you may be trying to be someone else. I remember a former counseling lecturer, maybe about 15, 20 years ago, mentioned to us in the class that a gentleman came to do a presentation, and instead of being who he was, he was trying to be Les Brown, the famous motivational speaker, in how he spoke, in how he laughed, etc. And as a result of that, the speech was a total failure. And if you think of speaking and authenticity in terms of speaking, when you are speaking, people must feel that it's you that are speaking. And even though you have been influenced by someone else, it must be a true reflection of you coming out in your words and in your body language, right? In that way, you will be most effective. I always make the point that to impact people when you speak, it is not just a question of proper content and proper language, but it's a question of sincerity. And people have an uncanny way of sensing and feeling when you are being sincere. And if you are truly authentic, if you are being real, your real self, that authenticity will flow. When we think of the ideal self, remember, if we think of life, if we think of the life cycle, right, there is birth, there is infancy, right, there is adolescence, there is adulthood, there is middle adulthood, late adulthood, and ultimately you will die. But in terms of development, how you enter the world, if you didn't move forward in any significant way, I don't think this is what God meant it to be at all. as long as you're alive, it should always be a step forward every moment. Every moment of your existence is an opportunity for you to become your ideal self. So your ideal self will encompass the plans and activities that you have to become a better version of yourself. We all have goals in life. One of your goals may be to become a productive and purposeful citizen, which is all good and well. But we need a kind of structure right now in terms of allowing you to really move in a direction of development. So you need to come up with your objectives within the context of specifically what you will do and your timeline. So to become a purposeful and productive citizen, you may focus on daily exercise in terms of maintaining ultimate physical fitness. You may focus on reading a book every month, perhaps every week, all right? So that you can become a mentally agile person and a person with diverse knowledge you can share on a range of issues and topics. You may have a plan in place to start tertiary education in 2022, completed by 2025. You may have a plan thereafter to set up a business, all right, in 2 years' time. So you're going to have those smart objectives in place, and you're going to also have to have in place the likely outcomes that you would like to get arising from those objectives. In so doing, you'll be moving yourself, along the pathway of becoming your ideal self. So becoming your ideal self will involve a lot of visioning in terms of thinking of the future and also thinking of the moment, because the future is created moment by moment. All right? So in becoming your ideal self, you can create your future now, moment by moment. The different things that you do or don't do will determine what you become. And if the less you do, the less likely you are able to become your ideal self. Right? Life is a precious gift, and we must refine it in every possible way. So you must read more, we must build our networks, because the more we are connected with people, it will make it easier for us to get things done. You could have all of the qualifications, technical, academic or otherwise in the world, but if you are not properly connected, if you don't belong to professional organizations, if you are not linked with people as a whole, whatever you have to do will become stalled, So in becoming your ideal self, you need to be constantly building relationships. You need to be constantly developing yourself intellectually, emotionally. As I said last week, emotional intelligence is one of the big areas in the world today. And the research is showing over and over that the stronger you are in that area, is the more likely you can become your ideal self. So work on the emotional intelligence, become aware of your emotional state and how you feel, right? Because being aware of that will put you in a position where you can manage yourself better. So if you are becoming angry, or the temperature is rising, you are thinking crazy thoughts, if you are fully aware of those things, you can easily walk away, you can easily do some deep breathing, you can carefully think of unintended consequences. But if your emotions are getting the better of you, you will do a great disservice in terms of becoming your ideal self. In becoming your ideal self, you have to walk through people, you have to work with people. As I said last week, social awareness will be crucial in terms of working with and through people in terms of fulfilling your goals. And when you put the three areas together in terms of self-awareness, self-management, and social awareness, you are putting yourself in a position where you can navigate your relationships in a very effective way, thereby laying a platform, a very solid platform, for you to become a greater success in life. So I am saying that becoming your ideal self is a constant work in progress, and it's a piece of work that must be done, all right? And if you are prepared to do the work that is required in becoming the best version of you, you will be making a very meaningful contribution, not only to your personal development, but to the development of the society, to the development of the world. So, I teach a course called Career Development at the University of the Southern Caribbean. And one of the tools that was suggested for students to guide them in their career path is to form what you call a career database. It's a very simple tool, and many of the students, while they had great ambition, while they do have great ambition and aspiration in terms of becoming a better version of themselves, they will not approach it in what you call a structured way. So this career database, you're going to be listing strengths, just like a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You'll also be under different headings, listing those attributes, What are your personal attributes that you are very strong at? What are the areas you are weak in, all right? What are the opportunities that lie in the marketplace for you? Technology has taken a quantum leap in terms of moving all areas of life forward. And IT today has become a field that will, feature in every aspect of what we do. Now, you might not become an IT professional, but developing some level of IT proficiency certainly will help your career path in any field. So, a simple thing as developing a career database is a tool you can use to help you become a better version of yourself. Another issue, the whole question of what you call a career dilemma, as it applies particularly sometimes to a lot of young people, where they have many things that they want to do, not clearly defined, and there's a lot of conflict sometimes coming from themselves, coming from parents, coming from other significant people in their life, trying to push them in a particular direction. So one of the things that these young people have to do is to reflect carefully in terms of who they are. We talk about identity, we talk about self-concept and self-esteem. You've got to work through those areas in terms of understanding who you really are, right? Bob Holland, a psychologist, spoke about pursuing careers that best align with your personality. That too could be a good guide in terms of what type of personality I am. And in so doing, it could be a guideline in terms of public career paths that you can follow. So all of these steps, as it applies to career, are things that you can do to help you become the best version of you. As I mentioned before, if you are willing to learn through others, that too can also help you become the best version of you. Sometimes other persons can honestly and critically mention things to you that if you have an open mind, it can help you take steps to improve yourself in some area. So constructive criticism is a good guideline for you to use and apply in terms of some weak area that someone else may have identified in you,